Ladies and gentlemen, Kameraden und Kameradinnen, I present you the I-16 Type 24 aircraft available as part of early access for Battle of Moscow. Now, Battle of Moscow is the follow-up title to IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad, and as the title suggests, it is of course about the engagements just in front of the gates of Moscow. Now, this aircraft of course is more commonly known as the Ishak. Why is it called the Ishak, by the way? That was something that always surprised me, because I heard that Ishak in Russian actually means donkey. So I thought, is this something about the rather poor aesthetics of this plane? Or no, actually apparently it is, because when you say I-16 in Russian, it kind of sounds like Ishak, and Ishak of course means donkey. So just by pure coincidence, the name essentially means donkey of this aircraft. Of course, this aircraft has seen various other names. The nationalists in Spain, where this aircraft also served during the Spanish Civil War, called it Rata, which essentially means rat, surprisingly there. And the Republicans, who actually used this aircraft, called it Mosca, which means fly. Now, the Finnish had another name for this one, and I hope I don't mispronounce this. Sipiorava, maybe? Essentially, it means flying squirrel. And yes, I am a German, but I can't say squirrel. Look at the Germans run there. Those aren't really frontline troops. They're not cut out for this kind of stuff. Anyway, the I-16. So yeah, going for various names, and it is an aircraft that basically makes up a third of the Russian Air Force, or the Soviet Air Force, when hostilities commenced in June 1941. Overall, even though this aircraft probably has a bad reputation nowadays, it was quite well liked by the Russian pilots. It was very maneuverable, on par in this case with a lot of German fighters of the time, and it had a superior turn than most German fighters. And a lot of Russian pilots actually refused at first to go with more modern fighters that were made available, and continued to fly the I-16 as they always had. Now, of course, even though the I-16, and you will see the horizontal turning capability here of the I-16, 20% flaps, by the way, so it's I'm not using flaps all that much, but you'll see how tight of a turn this aircraft actually has. I'm staying around 250 kilometers an hour here. But yeah, in all matters besides maneuverability and turning radius, the I-16 is quite subpar compared to the German fighters. Acceleration, diving potential, the service ceiling, even the climb and top speed were sorely lacking compared to the Bf-109Fs or Gs that you're currently facing in this game. Of course, with Battle of Moscow, we will also see the E7, the Bf-109 E7 coming to the game. So that might be a little bit more of an interesting duel, but overall this aircraft is probably going to be the least strong in terms of performance of the lineup we have. Now, I just want to mention quickly that the modifications for this aircraft, the plane that you just saw was completely stock, so to say. There were no modifications given, but you can have a modified windscreen, and you can arm it with 2 Shalak cannons holding 90 rounds each. And that is what I have right here in this engagement against the Bf-109F4. Now, as for the how the Ishak or Ishak, depending on how you want to say it, flies currently. Well, it essentially flies like expected. It's very maneuverable. The roll rate is just fantastic. It has a very good turn, but performance-wise, it really is outclassed by the German fighters. And in fact, in this engagement against the AI, I got lucky in the end, and he kind of handed me the victory. So I'm not quite sure what happened there with him. He should have won this engagement quite easily. But I'm not going to complain, of course. I at the end get my kill, and I think this is also going to be the fascinations of flying the I-16 in Battle of Moscow against superior performing aircraft. You're always going to be the underdog, and that is probably the reason why people will fly this aircraft. It's a challenge. If you've mastered some of the other aircrafts, you might tell yourself, right, okay, let's Let's try the I-16 here and see what I can do with this aircraft, because it's essentially the worst performing aircraft there is. You'll see I'm flying towards the sun here. I just want to quickly point this out, but I'm using this massive radial engine here to essentially keep myself from being blinded, and I can track the BF-109 quite easily. Just a little trick here you can sometimes do if you have to fly into the sun. Now the I-16, let's talk a little bit more about the performance. It is powered by, and I'm going to mispronounce this once again, Swetsov. Probably the Swetsov M63 engine, and I really tried getting, the accurate amount of horsepower this engine can actually produce. But any source that I actually found in my research gives me, well, different numbers. Sometimes it is set at 900 horsepower, sometimes it's set at 1000 horsepower. So it might be that there's a little bit of a change depending if a turbocharger is installed or not. Apparently that was a thing as well in some Type 24s, but not all of them. So it's very complicated. It's very up in the air. So I simply settled on the fact that it's probably between 900 and 1000 horsepower at any given day. But that being said, of course, as I already mentioned, the performance of this aircraft is not something to write home about, but you can use the maneuverability of the iShack to your advantage. Now, in this engagement against the BF-109 F4, I actually wanted him to attack me. I, of course, noticed quite early on that there's no chance in keeping up with his vertical maneuvers, as to be expected. So essentially, I tried to make a few come and get me kind of gestures towards him, telling him to attack me and hopefully making a mistake, so when he overshoots I can maybe get a little bit of a burst into him. Talking about the armament of this aircraft, stock, let's call it stock, with no modifications given, it has 4 Shakkas. Those are of course 7.62mm. Overall hitting potential probably also subpar compared to all the other aircraft that you will be facing that are armed with cannons. Even the lowest performing aircraft, BF-109E7 that we will see in Battle of Moscow, has 2 20mm cannons. So using these Shakkas cannons will beef up your performance, of course, in the offensive manner. 90 rounds are in fact quite good. However, keep in mind the Shavaks have a good rate of fire, so you will be using those quite rapidly. A little bit of trigger discipline is probably at need there. But anyway guys, we are nearing the end here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to share it with your friends. Tell me if you're looking forward to Battle of Moscow. If this is the first time you heard about it, I of course will be making more videos as development progresses. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day, good hunting, and see you in the sky.